Hello YouTubers, welcome back. We're starting off this video with a little scene of a rat carrying a piece of garbage across the road downtown. I see those randomly. And moving on, this is a load of dry elm firewood that's been cut into those rounds and seasoning for about a year. And it is ready to burn stringy, seasoned elm. So that's the truckload that I loaded up to bring over to the splitter, and it's pretty much about right at a third of a cord or a rick of firewood. And then we're going to top it off with some nice fresh oak that won't be ready to burn until next year, and that'll fill out the truckload. So here we go. As I was doing this, it kind of slipped my mind that I was throwing all of this wood to the wrong side of the splitter. Alright, now I got my truck unloaded and everything staged, ready to start splitting and loading back into the truck again. So I'm going to get this machine fired up and start splitting. Now I'm going to speed this up. I got almost 2 hours of footage today splitting wood, and I really don't think y'all want to suffer through that, do you? If you do, let me know in the comments. You want to see it in real time, we can do that. But I was out there for 4 hours doing all this, and it took me 2 hours just to split the wood, and then that doesn't include the time I took going to dig all this dry stuff out and loading it in the truck in the first place and bringing it over the splitter. And there was also some talking and conversing with the tree crew and just kind of messing around a little bit. But yeah, I'm going to speed this up and get through all this splitting, and you can still pretty much kind of see what goes on in fast motion, but it's just, I think, a little more watchable that way. And as I mentioned, I put all the wood on the wrong side of the splitter, so I have to take a minute and just kind of pile some rounds up to where I can get to them, or every time I split a round I have to go and do it individually. So I just go ahead and make myself a little pile here. That's what's taking a minute, and I'll show the first couple rounds or so in real time so you can see what it looks like, or I mean just how hard this elm is to split. Everybody knows elm is a notoriously hard to split firewood, and it is. That's what I was messing with my wood maul and axe at home, and pretty much just gave up on some of them that were just crotchy, nasty banana logs. But overall, elm is a good firewood. When you read about elm online, people say it's a bad wood, and the majority of the reason people say it's bad is because it doesn't split good, and it's too hard to split, and they don't like it. Other than that, its culling properties are middle to the high end of the spectrum, and it burns clean. It doesn't pop or snap or anything. It makes a nice flame. It just burns smooth and clean and turns into a nice ash and doesn't make fly ash. It doesn't pop. It starts easy. It's good to, you know, I think it's a good firewood. I was actually targeting elm for years before I realized even what it was, because all the bark was off of it, and it was dead standing trees that are in the forest around here. But I have pretty much hunted up all of the available dead standing elm around, and that's what I was looking for when I needed wood to burn in the winter or whatever, or going into the fall and I needed wood in a hurry. Those dead standing elms were what I was looking for, and I was wanting more of it. Well, I found more, and I finally figured out what it is. It was elm. So I was actually liking it as a firewood, and as I said, just because it doesn't split easy, that doesn't mean it's a bad firewood. It's a good wood to burn, and if you're just putting it in a fire pit or a fireplace to drink beer or to watch football and have a fire in your house, it's totally fine. You can hear the splitter making those creaking noises. That's the wedge trying to struggle to get through that stringy wood. The oak I split later doesn't do that at all. It splits right open. And just one more note before we speed this up here. That's a 25-ton log splitter, and those are some big, dried out, stringy elm rounds. And it gets the job done. It may not be the fastest thing in the world, but I think you kind of hit a point with a log splitter where 25 tons is enough. And I don't know what that point is. It's somewhere around the 20-ton mark that I think it'll go through about anything. And so I've been in the market looking at buying a log splitter, and after using this 25-ton, this might help somebody, but a 25-ton is going through pretty much anything that I have put in front of it. My 5-ton electric does not, but if it's going to go through everything anyways, you don't really need much more than that. So I mean, I would kind of save money on one versus buying a 35 or a 40-ton, because everything gets more expensive. Some of them don't come with hydraulic oil in them, for example. And a 35-ton splitter takes like 10 gallons or 10 or 12 gallons of hydraulic oil. The 25-ton splitters, they have a smaller cylinder and they only take like 6 to 8 gallons. So you're going to save like $40 or something. A lot of money, relatively speaking, on just hydraulic fluid, and everything gets more expensive with a larger cylinder and more hydraulic fluid and larger seals, and everything's more expensive. And the bottom line is, if you're using a single wedge especially, and you don't have like a 4-way or a 6-way or something, a 25-ton is going to go through anything. So I don't really see a need to spend that much more money on a 35-ton crazy log splitter, especially if you're using a single wedge. Next thing that I pay attention to is cycle time. They're all about the same speed. They're in the same range from, 9 seconds to 12 seconds. It's not a huge difference. So, if you're looking at price, you're looking at tonnage, splitting tonnage, you're looking at cycle time, and you're trying to find the best deal possible where, if you were drawing a Venn diagram where all those things kind of overlap, that's what I'm trying to do, and it's kind of hard. I mean, if you get a really fast one, sometimes they're, $3,000, and sometimes they're just expensive for no reason whatsoever. So I've been doing a lot of research on them, and those are basically the things that I pay attention to. I mean, there's some other factors too. I like how the county line has those log supports, the backup. So if you get stuck on a log as the ram backs up, those little stoppers push it off. They act like a bookend and push it off of the wedge if you're stuck. And that's something else. I would love to have an Easton-made splitter. Don't get me wrong. I would. If Andrew Easton wanted to send me a processor, I would be there with bells on. I'd drive to Canada and get it if I have to save that much money. So, but if you watch some of the other guys that have Easton mades, they are configured to where the ram pushes the logs through a fixed wedge. And when the ram pushes the log onto a fixed wedge and then the log gets stuck on the wedge, the only way to get it off is to either hit it with a sledgehammer the opposite way, or to hook chains to it and hook the chains around the backside of the wedge and put it in reverse and try to back it off. It's just a little bit more complicated, not as easy. I wish there was another solution for that. But that's one of the other things I look at. So, you know, it's just, I'm doing a lot of research, and I have been doing some firewood deliveries this year, made a few $100s or whatever. I haven't really talked about it online because it's people's personal houses and everything. I don't really video that stuff, and I don't really want to talk about money too much, but it's not a huge deal. However, I don't see myself selling $5,000 or $10,000 worth of wood a year where I live. It's just kind of a side hobby of mine, and I need to sell some just to really get rid of it and make a little bit of gas money back and that type of thing. Maybe a little extra cash. So investing a ton of money in a splitter may not be in the cards for me right now, because I can use this one that you're seeing right here, which is owned by the tree service that I work with. So I haven't invested in one, but eventually I may get one, and I've just been looking around a lot, and I'm considering putting one on my credit card, but I will be in the red as far as firewood money for a year or so, paying that off.
you. And I feel it'll be alright in the end. My hesitation will respond to you. My nervous chatter will never cease to end. Yes, I feel alright now. Now that my conscious mind is free. Yes, I feel alright now. In a full-length mirror I see more of me. There's a pale blue wind on my corner. The pebbles are turning themselves upside down.
As I mentioned earlier, I topped this load off with some nice fresh oak that was nearby. All the elm has been split that I loaded up, and it almost filled my truck. I closed my tailgate. That's just what I do when I get close to filling it up. It's easier to stack it in so you can see where you're at, and if anything falls or whatever, you can start packing it in your tailgate. Anyways, I got my tailgate closed so you can't totally see, but it was sped up, and I'm gonna cut a few oak rounds here and put it in. That stuff smells good. And speaking of smelling wood, oak does not smell bad to me at all. A nice fresh split stack of oak smells really good to me. The whole backyard smells good. Now, I did split a few logs of some stuff in here today. I haven't mentioned it yet. I thought it was locust. It looked like locust, but it was yellow in the middle. It could be Osage orange. It's hard to tell because all I have is a little bit of bark. But it looks like locust bark, but the inside was yellow like Osage orange. Anyways, the inside of that stuff smells terrible, and I'm not even playing. Like, this is not oak kind of sweet smelling wood. It smells like a sewer inside. And I think some woods do that. If they grow next to a septic tank or a sewer plant or something, they kind of pick up the smell of whatever they grow around. I don't know. They can also get water that can seep down into the voids of the trees, and it can stay in there for years, and it just kind of gets a rotten, nasty smell in there with all the bacteria and everything else that goes on in the dark inside of a tree. That was my cat that just knocked something off the counter. But yeah, so something that I split, it smells horrible, and I almost didn't bring it home, but I took the time to get it, and if it's locust, it's going to be a good burning wood. Whatever it is, it's either locust or Osage orange. It's a hot burning wood, and I went ahead and brought it home, and by the time it dries, it won't smell anymore. I don't know what it'll smell like when it burns, but it was only like 4 rounds of it, small rounds, so it'll dry out and I can throw it in my fireplace or fire pit and just burn it. I went ahead and brought it home since I took the effort to cut it up with a chainsaw and haul it out of the pile and everything, but it stinks.
Just fuck it all and leave it behind. When will you ever learn? 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 Makes me, it's what you gotta do. Release your aggressions and you put on through. But don't mind me, say come on me, says makes me.